are. And hi, I'm Tresham Gregg, the local Haines artist here at the Peace Fort in Fort Seward, Alaska. And I have with me today Heather Lende, who is the famous author of, most recently, of Bears and Ballots. And in this book, I actually appear because I was on the assembly with her at this very time, and we both faced a lot of the same issues. And of course, we were basically allies, I think.
Yes, absolutely, Tresham.
In fact, it was you that got me involved in the first place when you told me what was going to happen at the harbor. And I thought, oh my goodness, we can't have this happen. Let's do something about it, you know.
And we, of course, we both got recalled together and then not recalled, so that was good.
Right.
And,
but it was huge.
It was huge.
Your hair is pretty cool, you know, the way it flows in the wind and is
Yours is blowing around too, Tresham.
Mine is probably not as good looking.
I don't know when we got so gray. This is my COVID hair. It was shorter, but I'm afraid to go get my hair cut.
You're fear motivated thinking.
Not that there's anything to be afraid of at our local hair shop, but I just am following the rules, and I'm not. And long hair's okay.
Absolutely.
So it's not like it's a crisis. Tell me how you decided to call it the Peace Fort. I mean, the history of this fort is, Fort William H. Seward, right?
Yes.
It was built at the turn of the century, 1900.
As a peacekeeping fort.
It was.
Yes.
To
It
keep
kept the
peace
peace
in the
between
goldfields.
all the different factions of the valley. The miners, the settlers, the natives, the missionaries, the cannery workers, the fishermen.
Yes. And I always understood too, it was also here to protect that region, the Klondike gold stampeders.
The modern fort, I mean, the fort has actually has been a haven for culture and arts, and it's a peaceful place. I mean, we talked about in the morning, you get out and it's paradise. Well, it has that peaceful quality as well as the focusing quality. Plus, it has potential. When we have our fabulous Chilkat Center Theater.
Well, I was thinking about that too. I mean, talk about the roots of the fort. I mean, from the very beginning, the first important building they added to the military complex here was the Entertainment and Recreation Hall.
Absolutely.
And when I first arrived in Haines, some 35, 6, 7 years ago, whatever it was, that all I heard about was, the days of the old post, and there were dances, and there was basketball games, and there was theater, and the whole Lynn Canal Community Players, and even the radio station, and everything came out of this very social, creative environment that was here at the fort. And because they were kind of bored, there wasn't a lot of conflict, so they had parties.
Not enough conflict. The military was
well,
here.
and also they had a hospital. They had a healing, they had a healing building, and they had a entertainment hall, and then there was the PX was the
officers club.
The fun part. But even the parade grounds was, this whole area was just used for sledding and playing and games.
The soldiers actually brought that Enr Hall, the building, now Chilkat Center, over from Pyramid Harbor on the other side of the peninsula, on the other side of the bay.
Past my house. They floated it over and rolled it up the hill. I don't know how.
Amazing.
Yes.
It's a huge building.
And it's also a huge hill.
Yeah.
Cemetery Hill it's a 9% grade. It's
you
tough on
think
a bicycle.
They didn't float it around and bring it up the coast here?
If they floated it around, I mean, that was really risky. Maybe they did. I don't know. I assumed they put it on some kind of rollers and rolled it up the hill with oxen, or I don't know. But getting it around the point and through the islands, I mean, it would just have to be the right day. People are, especially younger people, are starting to recognize that it's a pretty cool place to be, and we're getting to the point now where obviously it needs a new group of people to put some energy into it. I mean, look, we're sitting right here, right next to Sarah Bishop's old field kitchen, and what's happening over here on Saturday morning is, the farmers, they're young, these kids, and they're growing beautiful things and baking croissants. And I mean, you show up here on Saturday morning, you'd be like, where am I? Am I in the San Juan Islands? Am I somewhere in Marin County? What's happening here? And I mean, the produce is from Four Winds Farm is art, and Sarah's almond croissants are to die for. They're really good.
What I'm currently trying to pull off is this Peace Fort Frontier video. It's basically a television studio kind of thing where we're having interviews, just like this one, and we have maybe discussion groups. We have puppet shows. We have stage shows, vignettes from the local people, musical talent, whatever it is that we can do to put ourselves across.
Bears,
Skinning bears?
Roller skating bears.
Roller skating bears. Yes.
I mean, I think in Haines it's very easy to, not very easy, of course, there's so much pain in the world and so much turmoil and all this uneasiness, but in a place like this, you almost sometimes feel guilty for complaining because it's so idyllic on many, many levels. And these things, while they drive us sometimes batty and make us angry with each other, in the grand scheme of things, it's all pretty minor.
Yeah.
I mean, we have this, and we always have this. And you get up in the morning, and you walk across the parade grounds, or I go down on the beach on the Chilkat side, and it's just hard to imagine that there's anything wrong with the world. That's me.
But we get bombarded with it.
We do.
On a daily basis.
Yeah, but I fear, I think, I know we've talked a little bit about some of your ideas for the fort and for Haines, and I think that the current crises on so many fronts in the world make this place a haven, and the kind of place that will be a refuge for people just seeking a pleasanter, calmer, cleaner, more meaningful way to be.
Well, a place to be, anyway.
Yeah, and even for just a brief time. I mean, it's sort of like I remember when you were running for this, Emily, and you were talking about making Haines a retreat for vision quests and healing and all that, and I was like, oh, Tresham, I don't know, might be a little too out there for the folks at the Chamber of Commerce, but at the same time, now it's making a lot of sense.
Well,
and there are people who are just like, throw me the life ring, man, I'll swim there.
There's much for alternative at this point.
It's suddenly looking like a very good idea.
And a lot of people that come here even for just a week actually go away somehow transformed.
They do.
Because suddenly they got a whole new lease on life that they had repressed. And if you get that feeling of expansiveness, freedom, and be able to focus and be inspired all in the same breath, I mean,
Well, I saw your granddaughter Cooper is here, and I saw a little video that she posted of riding her bike and her first day of vacation in Haines, and I looked at that, and of course that's a totally typical day for my grandchildren who live here, and it seems so normal. But then, coming from her perspective, from Washington D.C. and now Seattle, it's magical. I want to know if you would ever, are you thinking of proposing to change the name of Fort William H. Seward to the Peace Fort in Haines?
Well, you don't really change the name; you just add it. In a sense. I mean, it's a brand. It's a reason to be. And I see that the peace concept has a lot of different faceted potential. I had an interview with Tom Morfitt, and he said, well, peace is not very exciting.
Right, Tom thrives on conflict.
Right. So you have to make it fun.
Right, and Tom is, just for people that might not know, Tom is the third member of the assembly that was recalled, and it's for now and forever. We're like Tom and Tresham and Heather, synonymous.
Those guys.
With political unrest in Haines, and there's probably a piece of plywood around somewhere that still has recall and our names on them. But it may now be patching a window that a bear broke into, but who knows? But yes, I can see Tom, Peace Fort and Tom, it might be a hard sell.
Yeah. So, but it has a lot of potential, especially with the Chilkat Center, of having, say, workshops, seminars, lectures, presentations of one sort concerning peace.
It's interesting. This isn't, there's a kind of a harmonic convergence of these ideas and these little pockets of different things forming all around Southeast Alaska in a little radius that we're right in.
Really?
Well, you have outer coast, the college that basically Jonathan Christ-Tompkins, Representative Johnny Christ-Tompkins, and a bunch of his colleagues and friends got together, and they've taken over the old Sheldon Jackson campus in Sitka, and they're turning it into a type of a school that is like a hands-on. You learn everything about from building to Plato, and as in Plato, Plato, and fisheries or the environment or whatever. And then there's also the Indian Islands Institute, which is out by Pelican.
I'll show you some of my bear puppets.
See these? Oh God.
This is sort of the bad guy bear puppet, maybe Dontu or Dante or whatever it is. This one here is Queenie, the queen of the happiness bear. See?
Yeah,
isn't she lovely?
Yeah.
I do. I'm the happiness bear, the queen of the happiness bears. I've got a whole bunch of happiness bears back home, but we're getting there.
I'm glad that there's some happiness bears around, because it hasn't been a good season for the bears
Not a
right
good year.
now.
No. The bullets are raining. It's the rain of bullets.
It is startling.
It's this guy here
who's causing all the trouble, but the damage that he did to Lux mini storage, it was. You'd think he would be looking for that. He must have been looking for that Tom Seaver baseball.
No, there was salmon in there. You know it. Everybody's just leaving their salmon around. Drives us crazy. The only thing that gets us more crazy is garbage. Oh God, I love garbage. I like wildflowers and natural things. And you get off my case. Get out of my show. Oh, how do you know it's your show? It's my show. And I mean, what are you doing here anyways? Who let you in here? I was here first. No, you weren't. Yes, I was. Well, all right.
This just keeps you just stay up all night talking to the bears. You should go outside on the porch and maybe do one of these shows and broadcast it to keep them out and banging into people's houses.
Well, that's a concept.
I put a radio on at night on our back porch because the bears they're more like the nice little bear. They go down the beach and they pull up the roots and the rose hips and the grasses, and they love to rip apart logs for the ants. So it looks like somebody's been going down the beach with a little excavator. There's just holes and dirt and stuff flying everywhere. And the bears go by at night and do this, but they never come up, into the yard, or, well, knock on wood, they haven't yet. But I leave the porch light on facing the river, and I put on KHNS on the deck. I have a radio that I plug in and leave under the porch, and the bears just don't like the BBC World Service overnight program.
They want music.
They are not attracted to it.
They want music, man. They're funny. The bears have been cavorting around. I see it on their Facebook posts. They're doing all kinds of crazy things.
Yeah, they really don't. They're not interested in the news, and especially the news in a British accent. And cricket scores and stuff. They're not there.
Well, I can't blame them.
And it works. I think it actually works. So far, it works.